Hey guys, today I wanted to make a quick video about Signal RGB. This isn't sponsored or anything. I just thought it'd be useful to make a little guide for it because there's a lot of RGB software out there and very few of them work seamlessly across most devices. And I found that Signal RGB does do that for the most part, save for a couple different RGB control applications like L-Connect software from Lee & Lee. Doesn't really want to play well with like the wireless products that they have. There might be a plugin coming in sometime in the future. I know that last year we were sort of promised that it would work with L-Connect, but I haven't seen that happen yet. But real quick, I just want to show you where to find it. So what you would do is go to Signal RGB. Just search that up, and it's this first option here at the top. It's with this logo. You can click on it, and what you want to do is download now. So I've already have mine downloaded, so let's pull it up. And it's actually not running yet. So do you want to allow this app from an unknown publisher to make changes to your device? Yes. I've used it for like 2 years now. It's safe to use. I haven't had any issues with it. And it works just awesome. So I'm going to teach you guys how to set it up really quick. When you first will turn this thing on, it'll actually run through a initializing period, and it will pick up all your devices that are compatible, which is usually ones that are plugged into your RGB headers on your motherboard, or they're plugged into like USB headers if it has the compatible plugins. They do make updates regularly, so there's an update that came out today. It actually fixed some compatibility issues that weren't there with like the new X870 motherboards and a couple of new products that have just come out. So they do work to keep these updated. So right now it has pulled up all the devices that it has found connected to my PC or to the wireless network or to the network locally. So you can see it picked up my keyboard, it picked up the Kraken, which is the AIO that's in my system, or the system that I'm using right now. It picked up my Corsair Vengeance RAM, so it picked up all four, and it picked up my Govee lights that I have set up. Except for the only lights they don't pick up is the light bulbs that I have. So I have 4 light bulbs, but they're not compatible with Signal RGB because they don't allow LAN control of those in the Govee app. So that's really not Signal RGB's fault. But we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to show you some of the cool things that you can do with this. So if you go to settings, what you want to do is go down to Windows, and I always launch as administrator. So so this will request for Windows to always launch Signal RGB with administrator privileges. You must accept the Windows UAC pop-up for this setting to take effect. Enabling this prevents Signal RGB from running on start as user interaction is required. So I don't like it to start up automatically. You might want to do that, but sometimes I start up my system and I just want to make sure everything's running, everything else is running properly. And especially on this NZXT system that I have. I actually picked this up off Marketplace like last week, and I've been playing with it. But it's got the what's that software? CAM, NZXT CAM, and it likes to start up automatically. And I always just make sure I got the AIO LCD screen working properly. Everything is running properly since I don't use this all the time. But if you want, you can turn that off and it'll start automatically. But you can also launch it minimized everything. You can enable onboard devices, and then it will go to the signal tray when it's closed. So you can. So this is your capture, your video capture. So basically, there are some settings or there's actually there's a canvas that you can choose that screen mirrors your devices, so it'll mirror what's going on your screen onto your devices around your room as well as it can. And you can actually change the frame rate and everything. If you wanted to take up more of your system resources, you can do that. But there's lots of things you can do. There's macros, there's just so many things you can change, and I haven't messed with everything yet, but I think the macros and the monitoring stuff, I think you have to have Signal RGB Pro, and then it'll tell you what you need. Signal RGB Pro, I actually have it. I pay for it because it's pretty useful if you want to use any of this stuff. But for the most part, it's completely usable in the free version. So when you go in, you can see all the effects you can get in the free version, and there's some really cool ones that you can choose. And I mean, you'll have a good time just playing around with some of these, and I will show you what these look like, or some of these look like, as we go on. But so let's go to how I set this up. So what I would do is I would go to layouts, and this is how I have everything set up right now. And an easy way for me to know if everything's set up properly is I would actually, I always choose where is it? Custom wave. So custom wave, and I have it set up to run slow, so that way I can follow all these bars around my room and make sure they're set up properly where I want them. And I will show that on screen too. But when I go to layouts, you can actually see, since that's running, it's going to be interacting with all your devices in this manner. So if the red strip is going through your device at the time, it should coincide with what you're seeing in real time. And you can actually follow these along the path of the screen in your room, depending on where you have this set up. So if you find one that's like it's not lined up correctly, it might be because you have to adjust these. So if the LEDs are not going in this horizontal line the way you want, you can actually invert it. So you can click one, and then you can actually invert the selected device's x-axis, so it'll flip it if it doesn't line up properly. And then you can also adjust the size. So if you want it to be slimmer, you can. If you want it to, it just depends on which way your device is set up in the physical world, and then how it looks on the screen. So just think of this as like your canvas. So this is like my wall. My PC's right here. My desk is to the right of that. The keyboard is on my desk. And there's really not anything else in this room other than my son's little station he uses. But this is where the majority of the lights are at. So it's pretty cool. Now once you have that all set up, you can also, so you can flip the effect too if you want to. So if you want it to go vertical, you can. You can check and make sure everything's interacting properly up and down, and then you can actually watch the light go from the top to the bottom. So that's kind of the way that I do it, and that makes sure that everything is properly oriented in the three-dimensional space, and then that'll make the effect a lot more effective in real life. And then, so I'd like to show you a couple things. So there's some cool So if you actually pay for the subscription, you can manually select how you want your fan speeds to run, and you can monitor your PC, all your where your sensors are. So if you can CPU load, you can change it too. If you want to do, you can change. Oh, there's so many. It's a 13900K, so it's got a lot of cores. But you can do CPU temperature if you want to monitor that. Watch your memory load. You can also, I'm sure you can look at your GPU hotspot temperature. I mean, there's so many things you can monitor on these if you want. And then if you got like a second screen, I don't think that they have a like a overlay to monitor this yet, but if you've got a second screen, you can also have this open and you can monitor your temperatures like that if you have this running. So if you don't want to use a bunch of different software to monitor temperatures and stuff, this is a quick and easy way to do that. And then you have your macros macros that you can set up. So if you want to, if you don't use like Via app or some other thing that controls your macros, you can actually do it in here if you want. I haven't messed with this a lot, but looks to be pretty fully featured. Well, that's really cool too. Now, if you don't want to do all like the bright colors and stuff, there's so many. You have different options. Like you can find it. You can just do a solid color, so you don't want to. So you need to concentrate and just work. You don't want to get bothered by all the different colors. You can do solid color and it looks like this. And then with that solid color, you can also adjust that. So you want any color, you just up the saturation and don't want to turn luminance all the way, but lower the luminance and then you can change it to whatever color that you want. And it does it fairly quickly in real time. So that's super cool. Another cool one is one called Radar, and this will actually show you exactly if everything is lined up properly. Let me find it first. Here it is. I'll play it and I'll step back so you guys can see. So if you have everything set up properly, then you can watch that line of the radar go all the way around and actually ping those little circles that are on the screen, and those are lit up as well. So there's so many things you can do that are made for you. You can actually customize some however you want. Some of these have different color options as well, so you can, if you're not creative, like I haven't messed around with this as much, I kind of just like to set it and forget it, but like settings like on this this one, Veroni, you can actually, when you click to start it and you go into the edit mode, you can actually change from different looks, and then that will mirror what you've clicked. So if you like, so any of these. So that's a really cool feature if you don't want to create your own colorways. You can also do custom colors, random. You can do rainbow, but I kind of like the default is the dark carnival. And then when you go back, I didn't notice this, but when you click on one to view it, there's actually Signal RGB shows you these little demos of what they look like, so you can see what it looks like before you click on it. That's kind of cool. So this app has really come a long ways, and I enjoy it. So they really do get a recommendation from me if you want to check it out. Download the app and start playing with it. Again, not every single device is covered with it. If you go to devices, it'll show you too. There's third-party services. So Colorlight, Govee, Elite Desk, Nanoleaf, Philips Hue works with it. I've used that. That works really well, especially if you have a bridge. Some of these Govee devices, I've had some issues with things going offline. I'm not really quite sure but that happens less and less. But having the Philips Hue bridge keeps everything working properly. But yeah, that's kind of an overview of this. I will display a few different setups and some effects for you.